What's up, guys? Mike the Cop, trying to get this video in before the sun goes down real quick. Officer Daniels, the OG of cop comedy, he sent me a TikTok. It wasn't really a funny TikTok. It was of Ethan Ostroff Law talking about two important questions that you have to ask the police when you're stopped by them. Check it out.
If you ever get stopped by the police, ask them two questions. One, am I under arrest? And two, am I free to leave? If you are not under arrest, they must let you leave. Remember that if you're in a bad situation.
At the time I'm making this video, that TikTok had over 33,000 likes to it, which means there are at least 33,000 people roaming around who believe that they understand their rights, but do not. To be fair, Mr. Ethan Ostroff Law, whom I'm assuming from looking at his content is a lawyer, made a follow-up video thanking police officers for their service, so I'll play that as well.
All you police officers who were upset at my last post, first and foremost, thank you. You guys sacrifice your lives at times for people like me to be safe. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. I just think it's important for people to know their Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination.
So I don't really have an axe to grind. I'm not like mad at this guy or whatever else. I really didn't dig into the comments in the original video or anything like that. I don't hold any ill will toward this dude. I do want to assert that good cops, which are almost all of them, statistically, are sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution. I love the Fifth Amendment, like I love the other amendments, and so should you, and that's great. Knowing and understanding your Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination is super important. It's super valuable and valid in our society and to the criminal justice system. So no negativity there at all. The problem is that he articulates these two questions you should ask, and there is a huge gap in between that he's missing that is super important when considering what you should or shouldn't say to the police when you are stopped by them. The first question is, am I under arrest? Well, I mean, that's a valid question. Typically, you're going to be told that you're under arrest. Sometimes situations are very, very fluid and you end up in handcuffs and maybe nobody's told you you're under arrest yet, but you are. But sometimes you can also be detained and still be in a handcuff. So we'll get to that in a second. Bottom line is, when you're arrested, you're going to be told, even if by implication of the fact that you're in the back of the cop car driving to the jail, you're going to know you're under arrest. Contrary to popular belief or perception, you also do not have any legal right to have your Miranda rights read to you or told to you before you're arrested. That's not a thing. I have a video in one of these corners that'll pop up that goes into that. That's not a thing. So what you have to understand is that to make an arrest requires probable cause that you have committed a crime. Okay, so an officer has to be able to articulate from the law in their report and in their court testimony that there was probable cause and what that was to make an arrest in your situation, whoever you are getting arrested. Okay, that is the level needed to arrest you. Now, the level needed to convict you is beyond a reasonable doubt, so it's even higher. Okay, but take a step back, because most of the time cops are coming in contact with people. They're not being arrested, they're being detained. And so if the cop says you're not under arrest, that doesn't automatically, like the video implies or states, that you're just free to go. They have to let you go. That's not true, because there is a step in between called detention, being detained. And that simply requires that there's reasonable suspicion that a crime has occurred or is occurring or is about to occur, and there's an investigation that's taking place on some level on the part of the officers. That doesn't necessarily mean you're free to go, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be arrested. So there is an in-between. Now, a lot of people watch the sovereign citizen videos and they say, am I being detained? And if I'm not, then I'm free to go. But if you are, then you're not. I mean, that's common sense. A couple of quick examples to just illustrate this for you, that just because you're being detained doesn't mean you're being accused of anything. It doesn't mean that you're going to jail or being arrested, but you're also not free to leave. Traffic stops are a great example of that. You are being detained, you're not being arrested, you're not free to leave. Particularly even if you're a passenger in the vehicle. So if you're a passenger and you watched Ethan Ostroff's Law TikTok and said, am I being arrested? Am I under arrest? And the officer's going to look at you with a really goofy look on his face and say, no, should you be? And you say, well, am I free to leave? he may say, sure, hop out of the car, see you later, I don't care, whatever. Or he may say, no, I'd prefer you stay in here till the traffic stop is over. He has the legal right to do that, to control the movement of all the passengers of the vehicle. So you are being detained and you've committed no crime. So be careful, because that question could jam you up. Because now if you hop out of the car against the officer's lawful order to stay in it and start running away, that now you have committed a crime. Now that question, am I under arrest, might come into play. Another great situation would be, let's say that whether it's real or whether it's a perception of neighbors, maybe you're having a loud discussion with your wife, you're arguing about something, and police get called by multiple people, hey, I think there's some domestic situation happening, but they show up and they start talking to you guys. They're investigating that. Maybe there was a domestic violence situation, maybe there wasn't. Either way, you are being detained during the course of that initial investigation, because based on those phone calls or based on some other circumstances, maybe there is reasonable suspicion that an assault has occurred. And so they're going to investigate that. And during the course of that, you may be being detained and not free to leave. But an arrest may not result in that. It might. So the questions aren't the problem. It's the fact that just being free to leave if you're not under arrest is actually, it's bad information. It's not true. There's not a level of a universal principle that could be stated on, even when defending the Fifth Amendment. So that's my pro tip for you when you're interacting with the police. This video isn't trying to justify misuse of police force or detention or false arrest. I'm not trying to defend that. I'm just trying to clarify, because for you guys that are out there wanting to exercise your rights, if you're going to exercise them, you need to understand them. And I think that needed to be clarified because it was very inaccurate. All right. That's me. You can find me on TikTok now, Mike the Cop, and maybe I'll see you out there. I gotta brush the dust off some of these short comedic videos. Okay, good day.